Hi ladies and gentlemen, my name is Barry Coombs and I'm Chief Technologist here at ComputerWorld. Today's webinar is going to be a little bit different to the normal webinar that we do. It's going to be a little bit freer. We're going to be walking around the offices here. I'm recording on a mobile phone, so hopefully you find it quite immersive. You kind of get a sense of what we're trying to show you here at ComputerWorld. We're going to be focusing on the Microsoft Teams Rooms technologies that we've got installed here at ComputerWorld headquarters to help support flexible working with all of our colleagues here at ComputerWorld. Now, we're certainly not saying that we've got the ideal solution here, the thing that you should look to try and replicate inside your businesses. Indeed, many of you will look to implement solutions that are more cohesive and certainly have more advanced technologies. But like many of you, we're a small business ourselves. We've had to pick technologies to fit within our budget, and that's what I want to show you today in terms of what that looks like and what this feels like. So before we get started, let's just talk about the reason why people are looking at Microsoft Teams Rooms. We're seeing that we're now in that kind of era of hybrid work. What does that mean? Well, that means that people are no longer all in the office or all at home. We're seeing people be flexible, working in a variety of different ways in a variety of different locations. So one of the things that we're seeing organisations need to look into is how to make that meeting experience truly everyone needs to get the same experience. You need to make sure that it's kind of an equal experience between home users and people in the office. So you've got to have the technologies that support that in your business. So let's start by looking at one of the main rooms here that we use at ComputerWorld, and then we'll do a bit of a tour around some of the other rooms, talking about the elements that we've thought about and the technologies we've got in use. So let's go and have a look at our boardroom now. So the first thing you'll notice that we've got here, outside the boardroom, we've got the Link Teams panel. And from here you can see the current meeting that's in progress. There's not one in progress in this room. You can see that we also have the green glow around the outside. Any minute now we also have the Teams room meeting starting, and it will go red to show that the room is booked, and it will also then change to purple when we start the Teams meeting in this room. So these are really good just to have outside the rooms. It's worth mentioning for each Teams room you have, you will need a Teams room license. The professional license is the license that most people go for because that allows you to have full management, allows you to have these panels outside and get the full experience. So let's go and have a look at the boardroom and see what is going on inside there. So what we've got inside here is, this is our boardroom. We've got about 8 seats around the table here. We use this for customer demos, for board meetings, for team meetings. So we needed a solution that meant that we could collaborate in here, get up on your feet, go through some ideas. We've got the glass boards here, which don't obviously work that well for people working from home. So we wanted something a bit more interactive. So in this room, we've gone for the Neat board, a relatively new vendor in this space, but with a really strong history of the people that are working there, working in some of the biggest UC companies in the market. This unit itself, I believe, is an 85-inch touch display. You have a speaker and microphone array at the top and a 4K camera. This is a really intelligent camera that can find the people in the room and frame each of the people individually. So we'll show you that when we go into the meeting in a moment. It can be mounted on a wall, it can be put on small feet on top of a cabinet, or we've got it on the trolley here. So theoretically, we could move it from room to room with only a single power cable needed to connect it. It's running the Teams Room software, so irrespective of the vendor that you choose, it will look the same because it's a Teams Room. It's a standard that is there. We can see the name of the meeting room here, it's in the boardroom, and we've got the little cast icon, so you can actually cast from the Teams client directly into this boardroom if you're just having a meeting without the external people, quickly and easily. You don't need to start a Teams meeting. So as you can see on the right hand side here, we've got a Teams room meeting that Megan has scheduled for us that we can join. We can join an ad hoc meeting or share some content, but let's join that meeting to see what's going on. So we've joined the meeting. We can see that Megan has joined us here. We can actually see there's a whiteboard active, and we'll go and look in that in a moment. But what you can see down the bottom here is, through a bit of witchcraft and wizardry, Megan's actually filming us today. So you can see that it's found Megan's image and it's followed her across the room. And I'm also there as well. And it will track me as I move around, as I discuss what's going on. So it's using that attendee framing to make sure there's a really inclusive view for those joining remotely. We've got a number of controls down here, such as muting what's going on and changing the volume down. I'll do that so we don't get any problems later on in our recording. But if we just click and open the whiteboard that someone else has shared from another Teams client today, I can grab one of the pencils that conveniently sticks underneath. It's just going to load the whiteboard now. We'll just give that a couple of seconds. And the idea is behind the whiteboard here is obviously those that are remote, maybe they've got a technology where they're lucky enough to be able to write on the screen or do something on the screen. Maybe some others are using a mouse and dropping post-it notes on there, but we can also do that edit from here. So as we can see here, we've got the whiteboard and we can see what others are doing inside this whiteboard. I can move that around simply by touching or pinching in to zoom into what's going on there. I can choose the relevant ink from down the bottom here, and I can annotate as to what is going on into each of these areas in the diagrams here. So it's really nice, really responsive. We could do other things like drop post-it notes onto here. Others could be typing inside those post-it notes. So we've got a really collaborative experience here happening with the whiteboard inside this meeting room. So that's what I wanted to show you inside this boardroom. As I say, it's a medium-sized boardroom. We wanted something that was flexible, allowed people to collaborate using the whiteboard features and functionality that were available. So that's what we've gone for here in our boardroom. So let's go into a larger meeting room and show you what we've done in there. So as you saw in our boardroom, we've got the Yealink panels outside these two meeting rooms that are just here, displaying that same information. Now, this is a meeting room that is a particularly large room that we've repurposed during COVID, and we can get about 15 people in here if we adjust the configuration. So we needed something that was going to be able to work, be quite immersive, and everybody needed to be heard really well whilst there was content in here. So in here we have a solution by Poly, which is actually a Windows-based Microsoft Teams room. That means under the desk at the front there's actually a small Dell-based PC that is running what's going on, running Windows, that is fully, the updates are managed by the Microsoft process that is going on it. So you don't really treat it like a Windows PC, more like an appliance. At the front we've got the Studio USB camera. It's a 4K camera that has people tracking, allows the presenter or the speakers to be tracked inside the meeting. It also has a microphone and speaker array. In here we've got a particularly old projector, and if I wanted to change something in this room, I'd love a larger screen or dual screens or a newer projector, allowing me a more immersive experience. But hey, it's one of those budget saving things we had to do inside this room. But what we did implement was a really nice projection screen to get the best quality projection that we could. What we've got on the table here is a Poly GC8, which is the room control panel. We can see the meeting that's active, we can join an ad hoc meeting, and if I just click join it in here, you will see that the room then connects to the same meeting we were on a minute ago. So from here, you'll see the whiteboard has started, you'll see the boardroom, and you'll see that Megan is also inside that meeting as well. So there's a number of thoughts and considerations that needed to go into here, and actually when we implemented this room, the microphones weren't good enough for the size of the room. We couldn't hear everybody that was in the room. So what we actually installed was a Poly C60. It's known as a spider phone for those that have seen these kind of things in a conference room before. And this allowed us to get a lot better audio quality for both speaker and from a microphone perspective. It connects directly into that Teams room via a USB cable, and that's allowed us to really improve the user experience inside here. So let's go and have a look at the final room that we're going to show you today. If I go just next door. So the final room was a training room that is set out a little bit differently. It is a flexible space that can be configured in a number of different ways. And as you'll see at the moment, this is a big open space. We've pushed everything to the side, so more of an active activity could happen. Certainly we've got customers that want yoga spaces to be able to happen in meeting rooms as well. We reconfigure this room depending on what's going on. So some of you customers will have been in here in theatre style seating where we've done a presentation inside here. We turn it into a classroom and deliver training inside here, or we can have something like we've got here today. So the challenge would be if we had a solution similar to the room next door, the camera would be installed here underneath the projector screen. And when I'm stood in front of it, the attendees that are joining remotely would get a lovely view of my back. Wouldn't be that appealing, wouldn't be that enjoyable, wouldn't be that immersive for them. So we had to do something differently. So let me show you the back of the room here. And in here, we've got an Android-based Microsoft Teams room. So you've got two options, you've got Windows and you've got Android. The neat board is an Android. The Poly medium-based room system next door was Windows. This is a Poly X50, we've mounted this on a custom-made bracket at the back of the room. The idea is when someone is joining remotely, they get an experience like they're in the room, part of the classroom itself. This unit is actually an all-in-one unit. There's not a separate compute PC, it's all built into there. It runs the Android, it's got a 4K camera, can do the presenter and speaker tracking that we mentioned, and it connects down to the projector and the room controller. So it's really good that it's out of the place. That means that the presenter at the front of the room is the immersive experience that is got by the attendees. So if we're doing in here some technical training or some sales training, and some people aren't close to us, we've got employees in Manchester and over in Ireland, they're able to join and still feel like they're part of it. And because the speakers and microphones inside here, we can still hear them and they can still hear what's going on inside this room. But of course, the presenter is going to be at the front of the room. So we wanted to offer that experience where they could still control what was going on. So the Teams room camera is at the back of the room, but we have the Poly TC8 here, which manages the meeting room experience. And as you can see, we can join the meeting. We have similar controls to the other rooms. And from that perspective, you can see that we've got a similar view to we do in the other rooms. Just gonna mute this so you don't get the feedback. Hopefully that's enough. So from that perspective, you can see that we've got that same experience. We've got the Teams room system up there. We actually have a whiteboard on here, and I've got a content camera ready to be installed inside this room. So it's a small camera that will come out on a pole that will actually capture what's going on this whiteboard. So that means that anyone that is remote will be able to see what's going on. And it's got quite a spooky feature that actually it will turn me into a ghost-like person that you can actually see through to see what is being written on the board. So that is another example of a really immersive experience. So hopefully what we've been able to show you here is 3 different Teams rooms configured with different technologies that we have picked here at ComputerWorld to meet our specific requirements. When designing your Teams rooms, we need to consider many things, and our customers have a variety of different requirements, from very small huddle rooms, which we've got the Poly X30, a baby unit to the X50 that we're using in here, which is really good for those 2, 3, 4 people rooms. We've got some great Dell interactive displays that we're using down in another area of our business as well. And we have some customers that have got really large meeting rooms that we have to design custom solutions with custom audio solutions with microphones coming out of the ceiling, speakers built into the ceiling, etc. So whatever you need, we can help you design that Microsoft Teams room solution. So thank you ever so much for watching the webinar today. Please get in touch with your ComputerWorld account manager or reach out to me, Barry Coombs, on LinkedIn, and we'll more than happily show you the technologies, do a bespoke tour of this room, and join you to understand what technologies might work for your business. Thank you ever so much for watching.